Hello, my name is Mitch and I draw Blood Force, and we're going to wrap up Savage Dragon Week here with Savage Dragon number 3 right after I finish talking about that Blood Force ad you guys love so much. Hello friends, welcome to Blood Force. So this is Blood Force. Blood Force is a comic book that I write and draw. It is both a celebration and a parody of 90s extreme comics, and it is full of crazy stuff like this, and the action is only getting better with every page. And in order to read Blood Force, all you have to do is open the description below, click the link, go to my Patreon, and subscribe there. By subscribing on my Patreon, not only do you get access to the Blood Force comic, all of it in its entirety, you also get access to every video that I make before I post it to YouTube, usually about a week or two in advance, as well as the pre-Blood Force stuff. So we're talking about the sketches I made coming up with Blood Force, as well as a couple of projects I worked on before I did Blood Force. All this for just $3 American. You cannot get Arm Blades and Vengeance for a better price. So subscribe today, let's get Blood Force out on those shelves, and let's give the world the comics it deserves. Alright, so Savage Dragon number 3, getting on the shelves August of 1993, directly after number 2 in July. So keeping that schedule, and I think that'll stick around for a little while. Kind of a strange cover, really. The first time we've had the logo be off center here and smaller. And this, this is a little bit of a weaker composition. It feels like it should have exclamatory word balloons and, just very, lots of, declarations and exclamation marks all over the place. And I think he would probably put that out later on. Yeah, I think, if this were issue 80 something, there probably would have been some slogans on the cover. It's a little weird in 1993, I guess. And again with the muted colors. Yeah, that's kind of been the theme so far. The first 3 in the miniseries were very bright. These ones, not so much. A lot of black, a lot of green, not much else. Alright, so let's get into it. Looks like we're going to have another backup story in this one. And we're going to open with Peter Clapton, who is a musician, who recently lost his hair in a big fire. So that's a callback to last issue's Star backup. So Peter Clapton is Star. They pretty much confirm it here anyway. And it's also a bit of, it feels like a bit of a reference to Eric Larson losing his house to a big fire not too long before this. But maybe more importantly, he lost all of the Savage Dragon comics he drew as a kid. So that feels, like maybe he's referencing that a little bit. Or maybe not. And so he's scheduled to go on David Letterman style talk show. But while he's waiting in the green room, word comes over the news of one of the worst jailbreaks in recent times. And he's like, shit, I gotta go and be Star at a jailbreak. And we get to the big double-page splash with Dart kicking Bud Ugly in the face. It's good stuff. We don't quite have the usual layout set up here with splash, double splash. So changing things up a little bit. Still get our double splashes in there. And, there's nothing to read here. Dragon may be out of town, but that doesn't mean there's nobody around to stop you. You're not going anywhere but back inside. The only thing is that this guy, what is this guy's name? It's something about how tiny he is. Low blow. Yeah. He's like the anti-Gary Carlson character, where he refuses to talk in exclamation marks. All of them, actually. End of the line, boys. The dragon may be out of town. That doesn't mean there's nobody around to stop you. And he's like, you're crazy, lady. We'll rip your scrawny ass apart. Everybody's very calm in this jailbreak. Are there any? No exclamation mark. Not until we get to here. But yeah, Dart is the only super cop that's on the scene. There are other cops here. I think that's them in the background there that she's supporting. And they've all got their heavy artillery. But she's the only one who can actually take on the super freaks. And we get a little bit of a callback page here. We get Mako, we get Hardware, and Cutthroat, who apparently he was trying to cop a plea deal on the big man. big man is not Cyberface. He's the guy running the Vicious Circle. I don't remember what his name is. Overlord. That was it. That wasn't that difficult. They're never really that difficult with Erik Larsen. And Dart is on the ropes here. Star shows up to the rescue. Nice shot. Like really leaping out of that panel border. And decent motion up and down. Always good. And this feels like maybe a bit of a miscalculation because we're kind of stuck with two characters who are kind of the same. They're both flippy, kind of kicky people who throw tiny shit at people. I guess he's more quippy than she is. But decent Erik Larsen action. Always good. But they are getting overwhelmed, and then they start getting really overwhelmed. Yeah, Erik Larsen does not shy away from the violence getting a little horrible from time to time. And this here, see, there's the backup cops. But Star and Dart get rescued by Mighty Man. Another nice big splash. We've already had a few. Even the ones that aren't splashes, they kind of feel like splashes. But there's going to be a few guys who make it out. Not all of them. There was a few Vicious Circle guys who got killed trying to escape. So that's cool. And Mighty Man flies them to safety. And Dart tries to exhort him to stop them. Make sure you get that ass in there, Erik Larsen. And you got to stop him. You can't just let him escape. And he can't do that. I don't know why, but he can't. Anyway, back to the airport. That's what airport is. I would never think to do this as a setup for an airport. Look at how simple that fucking plane is. But like, you barely even look at this panel. And then you're just on to the next one, the big fucking shot of Dragon in his fucking Bermuda shorts. And no mustache anymore. I mean, it wasn't in the last one, but I think he did have the stubble when he was... No stubble either. No, he's done being mopey. And she comments about how he's coming out of his funk. Or maybe he's just happy being out of uniform. And they do bring up, apparently Dragon has had some suspicions about Frank. So, while he was away, Captain Stewart got a new superpowered recruit, and she never even heard of Lieutenant Frank Darling. So, Frank has been promising to get Dragon help, not even trying a little bit. And says, Frank's too straight to go bad. Somebody must have gotten to him. So, Dragon's got some suspicions that Frank is on the take, or that something's up with him anyway. But first he's got to go and visit with Dart at the hospital. And he's going to get her account of what happened. And she tells him that their lives were saved by Mighty Man. And he's going to make fun of her for it. So immediately getting off to the wrong foot. And she tells him to fuck off. And he goes, fine by me. And Vicious Circle are going to just kind of keep up the pressure on Frank here. And apparently he's got a baby on the way, and they want to make sure that he knows that they know that. And Dragon right behind him here, just like, anything you want to talk to me about, Frank? Just, nope, I'm good, thanks. And we get some setup stuff here. There's a lot of setup in this issue. I mean, we got a little bit of with the Mighty Man. He's starting to understand the pace, I think. Or to realize at least that he has quite a bit of runway to introduce things. You know, the Mopey Dragon thing turned out to be a one-off, and it doesn't seem to come back, at least for a while. So he's going to try and play with the space a little bit. So, that woman who claims to be your mother keeps calling. That was from the end of issue 3 of the miniseries. As does some woman named Amanda Mills. That was the one he rescued at the end of issue 1. I don't even have to look this shit up. This is fucking nuts. Plus the usual assortment of creepers and weirdos. Other news of interest. A leech-like creature was removed from the neck of the shrew. And that will come back at some point. I know I've seen the shots anyway. And Arnold Dimple, the guy who shot and killed Debbie Harris. is her ex-boyfriend. And it turns out maybe Debbie's mom had something to do with that. Looks like they had a phone call that was about a half hour long, but just before he went over and shot her in the head. And Dragon's apparently okay with allowing that to be on her conscience. This is, I think, Erik Larson trying to point out that Dragon doesn't always try to get revenge. Because it's got to be tough to not make every story about revenge. You know? I wouldn't know. I mean, I write Popo. Every story is actually about revenge. And then Blammo, or Scroom. There is a splash page attack that is very quickly countered, which apparently is because this vessel is shit. This is the Fiend, who, I mean, you know, he is able to kill a cop fairly easily, at least. That was actually kind of difficult to say. And he has some sort of fire powers, which doesn't hurt Dragon, naturally. Leap at each other, and he gets shot down. And that's kind of the end of the Fiend for now. Not enough hate to fuel this vessel. Pitiful specimen, I leave you. And it turns out he's just some dude. So, again, another guy who will be back. Kind of a lame first appearance, but I imagine he will return and probably be a bit more formidable. And then we get one more page with this house out in the middle of nowhere, and the cops show up, and somebody finally thinks to look in the basement, and like his jaw just completely dislocates. He's so shocked, and just oh my god. And yeah, we really want to set this thing up, but in a way that makes it kind of difficult to actually associate them, because it's 1 page per issue. Yeah, he really does want to jam a whole bunch of stuff in there, doesn't he? But not the worst idea, just planting seeds that he can expand on later. And then some more Fit Addicts with, again, get Erik answering directly. So we get there's a couple here that are of interest, actually. He talks about Tribe by Larry Stroman, which is another thing I've got all of and I would like to hit at some point. He talks about Image Number 0. Because this guy's saying, let's see. I've always looked forward to your comic, and once again, I was not let down, just what I expected from you, but I wish Image Number 0 and Operation Urban Storm had come out first, so I might have fallen more smoothly into this number 1. Because Image Number 0 has the bit where Debbie gets shot. And Erik's answer to this is, unfortunately, getting Image Number 0 out before the Savage Dragon number 1 was out of my control. I did my part. Shots fired a bit. Debbie Harris died in Image Comics number 0, printed in the Savage Dragon trade paperback, which did come out in between number 3 and number 1, I believe. I'll try to catch readers up on what happened in these pages. I'm sorry Image Number 0 didn't come out when it should have, although I hear it's almost finished. It's not done yet. This is August of 93. I thought I assumed it would be earlier. Like, you know, like maybe oh man, it seems like I kind of blew this out of proportion. And we got Deathmate coming up next month. So they fucking better get that shit done. And then the story intended for the much-delayed Operation Urban Storm was a flashback to when the Savage Dragon was first introduced to the other cops from the Chicago Police Department. I kind of remember that one. And some stuff where he's training, and all of a sudden he's already got like perfect accuracy, that kind of stuff. And of course, Operation Urban Storm never did get published. And then we get one more here with somebody, this is in response to issue 1, who thought that the dragon had become unlikable. And because he killed the shrew and all those guys in that bar. And Erik Larson does point out here that he did not kill the shrew, or even those thugs in the bar. The bar in that scene was a popular Super Freak hangout, which you did kind of get that feeling. There are a few people wearing weirdo costumes, and he does just start swinging wildly. The dragon didn't, nor would he, push any normal human's face into a wall. At least he explained that to us. I appreciate that. And the dragon was going through a particularly bad period, red issue. And he does tend to get on his... He gets a little defensive here, which is another Erik Larson thing. Clearly the events in issue number 1 have provoked an emotional response from you. That was my intent. This isn't a copy of the Smurfs. I don't find it necessary to make everybody likable all the time. Was everybody likable on the Smurfs? I never liked Brainy all that much. Not finding the dragon likable in a single story I can deal with. Reader apathy would bother me more. Okay? It does feel like he's taken an opportunity to show that he can get on a high horse. You know, if you don't, it's like, okay, fine, you didn't like it. That's a shame. And then we get some Mighty Man backup stuff. Drawn by Victor Bridges and inked by Terry Austin. He's been around for a while at this point. Longtime inker at Marvel, looks like DC too. Did Uncanny X-Men, New Mutants, and a bunch of Amazing Spider-Man. Did a bunch of stuff. So, very experienced guy, which is probably not a bad thing to have on this. I don't remember him ever going to Image though, so maybe he didn't stick around for too long. I don't know. And this is Mighty Man discovering his new powers. And Vic Bridges, I never enjoyed his style as a kid. He does draw pretty stiff, and nothing. I don't know. There's a bit of Brandon Peterson going on in here. I'm not sure exactly what it is. The angles are kind of weird, and yeah, like I said, everything's a little bit too stiff. This is the classic dude discovering his powers, and his girlfriend thinks he's super hot and kind of wants to try out the Mighty Man body. He's like, I'm not that kind of guy. We're friends, and that's it. Oh, not his girlfriend. Okay, just friends. My bad. He would never have a girlfriend. Come on. And that's that whole story. It's like 4 pages. But at least he didn't charge us extra for it. There's that Vanguard thing again. Images of Shadowhawk. Drawn by Keith Giffen. I guess written by Alan Grant. I've actually got the first issue of that. What else do you need to know? What the fuck is happening? What do you think? It's interesting. Because I think Keith Giffen had a very, plain style when he was at DC. I think it started to get a little funky when he started writing Lobo, probably, and he's getting Simon Bisley to draw that shit. And then he goes to Image and does Trencher and does this fucking crazy style. And then repeats it on Images of Shadowhawk. Yeah, what he's up to these days. There's that Super Patriot miniseries. Great looking stuff. Get some more. The Wildcats is coming back. All the action of the Wildcats miniseries continues on in the regular titles, starting with Wildcats number 5 this October. We'll see about that. I think they'll probably get it on time for October. Maybe even a month or two after that. Then we'll see. Stormwatch number 5. Now, we jumped around a bit in the timeline, haven't we? We haven't hit any Stormwatch yet. We should probably do that pretty soon. And we're already getting drawn by Brett Booth. And then Trencher number 0. Fat chance of that ever happening. But we're up to issue 5 and still only $1.95. Check us out. Trencher did not get up to issue 5. That's a bit unfortunate. We're here right at the end of Trencher. They finally get an ad out. No, I guess they had a couple ads out. But I suppose they weren't too successful, unfortunately. I like Trencher. It's just fucking weird. And you can't expect, 13-year-olds to buy Trencher and be like, man, this shit looks amazing. Maybe 15-year-olds buy and go, man, this shit looks so fucking weird. I gotta buy another one. And we're still talking about Cyberforce Volume 2 coming out soon. But yeah, that is it for Savage Dragon number 3. Not as much happening in this, not as much direct action. We did get that jailbreak at the beginning. That's pretty sweet. And then a bunch of setup stuff. So I think the next few issues are probably going to be kind of teasing that out a little bit, and him kind of settling a little bit into having this entire world to play with. This is his toy. He can do what he wants with it. So he can rush and get everything on the page if he wants to, but he can also, if he wants to take it slow, introduce multiple storylines, and just, let them play out when he gets time, when he gets a minute. Not a bad way to go. But that is going to do it for this one. Thanks very much for watching that. If you like this video, please hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notifications. You can go over and follow me on Twitter, but more importantly, go and subscribe on my Patreon. It gives you first crack at these videos about a week or two before I upload them to YouTube. You also get access to the Blood Force comic book, as well as all of the supplemental Blood Force content, such as like sketches, some pre-Blood Force stuff, as well as projects I worked on before Blood Force. It's a pretty good deal. But yeah, thanks again. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.